Do I need to do it again? I feel like a goofball now. Do I need to do it again? Hello there, Brian Latimer's wife, Rochelle. So, I've approved Brian's lesson plan for today. Today, your learning target is, I can teach you guys about pond water / kayak baits. It's going to be awesome. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right, you heard it. Pond fishing baits. That's what we're going to talk about. Let's get right to it. All right, so you heard it here. So we're going to talk about some of my favorite baits to use if I'm going pond fishing, or if I'm walking the bank at a pond, or if I'm going in the river, any kind of small water fishing. I'm going to tell you some of the baits that I always carry with me, and I promise you, you probably can catch some fish on these guys no matter what kind of small water you're fishing. Let's start off with some of the finesse tactics. I'm gonna do this video just like I do all my other videos when I'm kind of walking you guys through some of the setups that I like to fish, and I'll kind of reference some of the other videos. Like if you don't know what a Texas rig is, I'll leave a link in my description box of the Texas rig video. If you guys don't know what some of these setups are, instead of going through them and boring you guys that watch my videos every day, you can, for you new guys, you can just go reference those videos and learn a little bit more about them. So I'm gonna make you do a little bit of homework here, okay? We'll go over the finesse tactics first. So there's a couple soft plastic setups that I like to use anytime, no matter if I'm fishing a pond, a river, or even walking the bank at a lake. Let's talk about the rod, reel, line setup. Finesse tactics. Favorite 6-stick, 7'1", medium heavy. I know you keep hearing me talk about it. Well, that's the reel that I use, the rod I use for everything. I don't like to have a lot of rods if I'm going kayaking or walking the bank. It just makes it not fun, basically is what happens. I've got 4 rods out here, and these are truly the 4 rods you've seen me use in my videos, walking the bank or kayaking. 7'1", 6-stick, medium heavy. This guy just catches from drop shots to Wacky Rigs to Ned Rigs. If I need spinning equipment, this is the rod that I grab, guys. This is my boo right here. 7-foot 6-stick spinning rod, and I'm using a Lew's 2000 series TLC. This is TLC Team Lew's 2000 series rod. 20-pound test, Strike King pro grade braided line. All right, and then I'm going to tie that with an Alberto knot. Look for the link in the description box if you guys don't know how to tie an Alberto knot. 20-pound test, Alberto knot. 10 to 12-pound test, Strike King pro grade fluorocarbon. Tie with an Alberto knot. Connection knot at my bait is always going to be a Palomar. Look for the link in the description box of the Palomar knot. One of the baits that I like to use, I don't care if I'm going bass fishing in a pond, river, lake, Tennessee, New York, Florida, Oklahoma. This dude right here, the Wacky Rig. Straight tail Wacky Rig, weightless. If you're fishing small waters, you gotta have a weightless bait. I'll tell you why. A lot of these ponds, rivers, lakes, etc. are very shallow. A large portion of them, they're only gonna have water in them waist deep. And you guys, you're making a mistake if you think fish don't live in that much water, okay? Something bit me. But you think they don't live in, the water column that's basically that much. They do, I promise you. Catch fish all the time in less than 2 foot of water in these places. So you need something weightless. Or you're throwing it over grass that's submerged, but you don't have much water column over the top of it. Well, you need to throw this, a weightless straight tail worm. I'm just throwing it on a drop shot. This is a drop shot hook. Number 2 owner mosquito drop shot hook. That's all I'm using. Very simple setup. Throw it around stumps. I throw it over grass. I throw it where I think fish are spawning. I throw it everywhere, especially when you have just a very small, shallow water column. A weightless Wacky Rig worm will flat out catch him. You've seen me catch him doing this. Dude, I threw up on that stick and he just come out like, whoo. Dude, that's like a 3-pounder. Just as soon as they calm down and you can actually control the boat, they're so mean in this pond, dude. As soon as you hook them, they run straight at you. Dude, he come out there like a freaking ape. God. Oh. Boom. Yes. Dude, that wacky snack never failed. Junebug red wacky snack. God. That's the setup. Now, for these next 2 baits that I'm going to talk about, I'm using the same rod, same reel, same line, same Alberto knot, same connection knot, all right? Second bait I'm going to use is, you guessed it, when we're talking about finesse baits, the Ned Rig. And you're probably looking at this guy thinking, well, that looks a little special. That's not your normal Ned Rig here. It's because it's not. What I like to do with a Ned Rig in a pond situation, this is the thing. When you're talking about fishing ponds, you're only able to fish for the fish that are in that couple 8 or 10 acres. If they're 1 pound fish, 5 pound fish, or 10 pound fish, you just got to catch them. And more often than not, the ponds that I fish, they don't have very big fish in them. They don't. They just don't. That's just not what's available there. So some of these bigger baits that I'm going to talk about later, they just don't work. And if you fish them, you're just not going to catch fish. You're going to go home frustrated. All of us want to catch fish. This thing just catches fish. It gets bit all the time. So some of those ponds that you guys maybe are fishing that have those smaller fish in them, try the Ned Rig. But try it this way. This way, this is called a TRD spins, is what this little guy is. This is a little special spin on fishing the Ned Rig. It's a Colorado blade. They have a willow leaf too, a gold willow leaf blade. It has a little barb on a wire here. What I do is I take my TRD. I think most of you guys know what a Ned Rig is and know what the TRD is. If you don't, maybe I should do a video on it. Let me know in the comment section if you guys want a Ned Rig video, and I'll do that. But I think it's such a hot topic. I feel like there's 1,000 videos out there on Ned Rig, so I didn't want to go somewhere where it was already so saturated. This is it. Take the Ned Rig, take the TRD spins and put it in the back, insert it in the back of your TRD. Doesn't have to be a TRD. You can use another plastic to spin the ticklers or whatever you want to use. Insert it in the back. Now what you've got a TRD that you can fish like a spinner bait. Reel it close to the surface and you'll see that bait coming across the top, and those fish will come up and eat it. If you need to sink it down, say you see a little lay down and you reel it up to that lay down and let it flutter down past it once you pull it over the limbs or whatever the case may be. You got lily pads, you got a little bit of hydrilla or some type of aquatic vegetation in your pond, throw this guy right here. You can roll it around and keep it from getting snagged so much. That's a huge issue when you're fishing the bait, because you can't troll out in the middle of the pond and retrieve your bait, and you don't want to lose all your hooks when you're bond fishing, right? That's an issue when you're fishing the TRD or the Ned Rig. It's an exposed hook, so it stays hung a little bit more than like a Texas rig. So doing this, you throw it out and you can reel it, keep it suspended above the surface and not worry about how getting hung up. Dude, I've caught a lot of fish on this. I give it to my son when he goes pond fishing with me. We catch fish on this guy all the time. TRD spins in the back of a TRD will flat catch him. Doesn't matter what color. Throw it on the same setup that I'm throwing the Wacky Rig on. Just insert it right there in the back of it. You'll catch some fish, I promise you on that. There he is, bro. Look, that's a good one. That's a good one there, boy. You see, I told you he was one in this corner. I kept trying to get you to cast over here.
You told him.
I tried to tell you. I was like, cast in the corner, cast in the corner. I told you 1,000 times, cast in the corner.
You didn't tell me 1,000.
Throw in the corner.
You didn't tell me 1,000 times.
Every time I tell you to cast. Not in that corner.
Well, you told me in the corner.
Just right over, look, just right over in there like that. All right, moving on to some of the casting gear setups that I like to use. So my next deal is, are you even fishing if you go to the pond without a Texas rig, right? You gotta have a Texas rig. I don't care where you go. Texas rig is more money than anything. A Texas rig, just a straight up Texas rig. If you don't know what the Texas rig is, I got a video talking about nothing but the Texas rig. So go to the link in the description box. I'll link that video there so you can learn how to tie it, what I like to use, etc., etc. You've seen the kind of fish I catch. Dang, another big one. Oh, another big one. God. Oh. Dang, dude. Did I flip that Texas rig up by them pads? It was going off 100 miles an hour. Look at the belly on that thing. God. God. Bro, look at that thing. Oh my God. First of all, I'd like to thank lily pads for being there for me. And yeah, holy whoa, bro. Let's go talk about some of the baits that I like to use when I'm pond fishing. If you've been watching my content here recently, there's two baits that you've seen me flip. One is I've been using swimming a worm a little bit. Now that's a technique that's old school, but boy, it still catches them. What I'm swimming my worm with is this guy right here. This is just an old curl tail worm that Z-Man used to make called a sawtail. After I did that video, I found out that Z-Man doesn't make the sawtail worm. I apologize, guys, so you can't get the sawtail worm like you could a couple years ago. My bad, didn't know it. But sawtail worm, 7-inch curl tail worm. Go to the tackle store and get you a good curl tail worm. It does the same thing. It's just not going to last as long as the Z-Man plastic does. What I like to do with this, a 4/0 offset style hook, anywhere between that 1/8 and a 3/8 ounce sinker. Okay, depends on how deep the grass is, how far I need to cast it, how windy it is. You got to decide what sinker it is. Blat can't decide what size sinker you need for your swimming, your worm, or throwing your Texas rig. You got to figure that part out, okay? So anywhere between the 1/8 and 3/8 ounce, tied with the Palomar knot. What I'm using for this guy is the Rig series, the Phantom 7'2" Rig series. 6/8 to 1 gear ratio reel. You can use a fast one for this technique. You can actually use the fast one and be fine with this. It actually will help you out a little bit in case you get one on, especially in a kayak, and you can keep up with him a little bit better. 4/0 hook, 1/8 to 3/8, 7'2" Phantom Rig series, medium heavy action. Then I'm going with 20-pound test fluorocarbon. You can use as light as 15 if you want to. That's a good medium weight. So if you got really clear water or you need to get a little bit more distance, 15 to 20-pound test fluorocarbon on that guy. That's the setup I'm using. Now you've also seen me use another bait called a bang sticks that I flipped a little bit as well, that I keep in my soft plastics locker here. The bang sticks is just a soft plastic stick bait. You see me flip that guy around some pads and catch a couple good fish on it too. So these two guys right here, curl tail worm, this is a sawtail, or you can use the bang sticks. Either one of those guys are great worms to use to flipping or swimming around structure when you're using soft plastics. All right, so I think that's probably covered the soft plastics category when you're talking about pond fish, especially during the springtime. Now, I do not use that many hard baits when you're talking about pond fishing. Not a whole bunch. You know, I use some, but just not that many. One that I've absolutely been wrecking them on this spring in all the ponds that I've been fishing is this dude right here. Just a good old-fashioned prop bait. So this is a boy howdy. Boy howdy is a great bait to catch your daggone personal best on, especially when they're spawning due to a prop bait. It aggravates them. It stays in the strike zone a long time. It just flat out catches big fish. Oh God. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. I think so. Whoa. Oh no, much bigger. Much bigger than 3. Much bigger than 3. Yes! Dude, look how fat that thing is. Bro, that was so freaking awesome. Dude, I love throwing a top water in these little... Dude, did you see him hit that thing? Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, he went freaking ape wall on that thing. Huh? That's a 4-pounder. What I'm using for this guy, so if you've been watching my videos, you've seen I've caught quite a few fish on the prop bait. What I've been using, this is a Pro Battle Series 7-foot medium heavy. This is a line of rods that all the pros at Favorite design. So I know you guys don't have access to it just yet, but I promise you, this rod is going to be the perfect one for a prop bait. One that you can get your hands on right now if you're looking to buy a rod, and this could be just a end-all be-all for your casting equipment. If you want something for fishing in your kayaks or wading the bank, it's a real rugged rod. You can't tear this rod up, dude. This rod right here is probably one of the most indestructible ones that I have. This is the Favorite Defender series. I don't think you could break one if you tried to. Favorite Defender series, 7-foot medium heavy action. And I'm using a Lew's 7.5 to 1 gear ratio reel on this. This particular one is the Lew's, the Custom Pro is what I've got rigged up here. 7.5 to 1 gear ratio reel. I'm using 50, or I actually prefer a 30-pound test braid. This is 50 on this one that I got rigged up here. But the one you've seen me using in videos, this one has got 30-pound test braid on it. I like the 30 on it. It comes off the reel a little bit faster, get longer casts, especially with a light bait like this. As big as it is, it's kind of light and hard to cast. So I like the 30-pound test braid better. Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one. He just came up sideways. I thought he was a giant. He's got them hooks all in his face so much that he couldn't even jump. Holy smoke. Dude, that's fun watching him hit that prop bait. Feed me more, cause I need more. Feed me more. When you're throwing a bait like this, if you've ever worked in on straight braid, you'll notice that the braid likes to back up into the front blade on your prop bait and cause a lot of problems. The way to alleviate that, there's about 3 or 4 ways to get out of that. I prefer to throw this setup on braid. You can throw it on 20-25 pound test mono. I don't like to do that, all right? I like to throw it on braid. If you throw it on braid, a couple ways to keep that braid from backing up into the prop and fouling your bait up on a cast. One of the things you can do is put about 3 or 4 bobber stops in front of the line to keep the line from backing back up into the prop. That's one thing you can do. Just take some bobber stops that you use to keep your sinker from sliding up and down your line, put it on your line, and it'll keep the bobbers from going back into the prop. The other thing you can do is you can take a coffee straw, and that will keep your line from backing up into it. Makes the line rigid, and obviously it keeps the line from wrapping around your prop. What I like to use is just a small piece of fluorocarbon. I use like 20-pound test or 25-pound test fluorocarbon. It's hard, it's rigid, it's a stiff material, and it lays down on the water flat and keeps that line from backing up and getting into your props on your prop bait. Tie with the Alberto Knot. I just use a short piece. It doesn't harm the action. 12-inch, 16-inch piece of fluorocarbon, and it'll do the job for me. Now, boy howdy is a great bait if you have big fish in your pond. A lot of 2 to 6, 10-pound fish, double-digit fish. Great bait for that. That's not realistic for all of us. Some of our ponds just don't have that big of fish. The ponds I fish, most of them don't have big fish. They've got a lot of 8 to 14, 16-inch bass in them, predominantly. Maybe there's a big bass in there, predominantly they're smaller fish. A bait that you could use, it's the same thing, a topwater bait, but but you can still get bit. Try a tiny torpedo, maybe like a pop-ar, some of those smaller profile topwater baits, and you'll still get bit on your topwater. That's really the only hard bait that I've been using in a pond here recently is a boy howdy. You can throw some of the bigger walking style baits as well. Czar puppies, I think I've caught 1 or 2 on those. Those work good as well. I think I've caught 1 or 2 on a jerk bait as well. But the biggest one I've caught the most fish on has been this guy, the boy howdy. Make sure you change out the hooks. They come up with terrible hooks. So does the Devil's Horse, comes with terrible hooks. Switch out your hooks. I'm using, these are number 4 owner ST56s, I think it is. Switch them out, you'll be good. And the O-rings as well. Those are some baits that if you're fishing ponds, you're fishing rivers, small water, kayak fishing, 4 setups that you guys can bring along with you, a couple soft plastics, and 1 or 2 hard baits that I promise you, if you're walking the bank springtime of the year, you're gonna get bit, you're gonna catch fish. Let me know what you want the next Tackle Talk video to be, and I'll try to throw it up this week. Appreciate it, folks. Like a little spinner bait. Oh yeah, leave that alone. It's got hooks in it, like you normally would. You like to throw this? Brother catches them on this all the time. As you can reel it through over stumps, logs, really shallow places. You want that? Brooks, you gotta, can you just scoot over for just 1 minute so they can at least see? Okay, don't grab it. Now, did we cover everything on the tier of these spins? Trying to be in, you want to be in the video. Brooks has got to be in the video. So I always keep that. Okay. I always keep the that this will not come up. The barb and everything's designed. You see, it won't come out. These are some that I guarantee you that you can catch fish with. If I'm going pond fishing, kayak fishing, river fishing, any of that stuff, more spins with it, but it does work. Shell, can you give me that bait I was asking you for? You out for you guys that are walking the banks or walking your rivers or even fishing out of kayaks like I've been doing a lot of. You see them? No? Those right lines and you catch a lot of fish this year. No. Don't worry about it. Old school boy howdy right here. So there's a bunch of different, two things you can do, two things that you need to do. You see those bubbles? They're shooting bubbles back there. I'll get that out. Huh?
You wanna watch, Daddy?
Okay, sorry about that. Really slow. You can let it sink. You can reel it where you see it. Brooks, do you want to just come up here with me and do it? Just come up here. Just throw it out, reel it back. You'll catch fish on it.
I don't know what to say.